I crash my drone a lot. Especially my Cinewhoop, always trying to fit through the smallest of gaps. So I started off with the Cinelog 25, but almost every single time I crash, I would break my prop guards and not be able to fly unless I either super glued it back together or I replaced the prop guards. I kept seeing online this drone frame called the Foxeer Foxwhoop25, and people were saying that it was indestructible, so I had to give it a shot for myself. It honestly sounded like the perfect drone, a small 2.5-inch Cinewhoop able to stay mostly lightweight and carry my Insta360 Go 3. I purchased the frame, took all the electronics out of my Cinelog 25 and put them into the Foxeer 25 frame. There was some trial and error because there was zero instruction online on how to build this frame. I looked everywhere. Nothing from Foxeer, and the YouTubes that were about it weren't really step-by-step instructions. The first test flight went extremely well. The drone felt solid flying inside, and I was super excited that I wouldn't have to worry about crashing it and breaking the prop guards. That was all the testing I did, and that was where I really messed up. There are numerous things that are the bane of a drone pilot's existence, and jello is one of those things. Now, what is jello, you ask? Jello is when the footage looks like, well, jello. It wobbles, and there are numerous things that can cause this. Too high of a shutter speed, which is fixed with an ND filter on your camera, or too much vibration where the camera is mounted. That brings me to my first set of flights with this drone. I was going to Bernheim Forest to get some video footage for their marketing team with the changing of the leaves. Like, that was what we were going for. And I got to fly in some gorgeous places in the park and had some truly amazing flights. I get home, ready to color grade and send the footage to them, and that's when disaster struck. All of my footage had jello in it. I couldn't believe it. I had all my camera settings right. I was flying smooth. There wasn't a ton of wind. There was never been any jello in my Cinelog footage or my 5-inch drone footage, so I was completely shocked. That's when I took a closer look at the difference between the Cinelog and the Foxeer. The Cinelog has a soft mounting system with these little gummy things. Don't really know what they're called, but they absorb the vibrations from the motors and from the drone flying. The Foxeer doesn't have any type of vibration dampening, and all of the components are these hard injected molded plastic, so the vibrations get transferred through the FPV camera and my Insta360 Go 3. Honestly, I was heartbroken. What I thought was going to be the perfect drone for me ended up causing me even more problems. The bigger problem is that my Cinewhoop makes me most of my money out of all of my drones because I use it to fly through businesses, for real estate stuff. It's really just an all-purpose thing, and I can't have my footage being anything less than perfect. After doing some thinking and trying to figure out how to fix it or if I need to rebuild my Cinelog and ditch the Foxeer, I remembered that I've got a 3D printer and I can make anything I want. I downloaded some print files from Thingiverse and Foxeer and decided to see if I could fix the vibration. When I printed out the drone parts, I printed them with this plastic called TPU. This plastic is softer and it's flexible and it should be better to absorb the vibrations of the drone. And with it removing the vibrations, it should remove the jello from my footage. Each part took only about 20 to 30 minutes in order to print. Then once I had the parts printed out, I had to heat inject these M2 knurled nuts in order to attach the parts to each other into my drone. It was interesting. Once all the parts were printed, put on the drone, it was time to test it out. Well, we got all the new parts on the drone, so let's test it out and see if it works. And I am recording on the drone and in my goggles so we can see if the drone camera got fixed or the goggle camera got fixed or both or just one. So here we go. Alright, so I can already tell you that the drone camera is not fixed because there is a ton of jello in it. And so I'll have to wait and see if the FPV camera gets fixed, or the, not the FPV camera, if my recording camera gets fixed. But Not much wind out today, so I mean, like, honestly, these are great conditions, so hopefully this works. But just a quick test flight, and now we'll go review the footage. So we've got the footage imported in, and it's in the Insta360 software. So I'm gonna check it out and see if this footage is usable. Now on my FPV camera, the footage was awful. Still had a ton of jello in it, so I'm very nervous about how this footage is gonna turn out. So let's take a look. No. Nope. Don't like that footage at all. There is a crap ton of vibrations in that footage, and it looks atrocious. Yeah, this is frustrating. So the new parts didn't work out at all, but now I'm thinking that I'm the issue. The mount that I've printed for my Insta360 Go 3 touches the FPV camera, and I wonder if that's what's causing all of the vibrations. All right, here we are again for round 2. Now we've got all of the purple parts on here, so let's see if this fixed it or if I'm still a complete moron. Okay, so there's definitely not as much jello in the FPV camera today, but I don't know if that changes anything with the upper camera. Okay, there's still jello. At least in my goggles camera, there's still jello, which isn't the worst thing in the world. I can live with it. I just need my other camera to not have jello. So, just a quick little test, and let's bring her back in. So fixing that camera mount seems to have solved all the problems that I've been having. Thankfully, because I don't want to build this in a Log 25. I crash way too much. Now, is the Foxeer 25 the perfect 2.5-inch Cinewhoop setup? Well, I would say it's close. It's not a huge problem that the FPV camera has jello in it, but it also can make the flights a little bit nauseating. I'm still nervous about the possibility of getting jello in my footage. Making sure the cameras weren't touching was a big fix, but the fact that the FPV camera still has jello in it has me concerned jello might show up in the Insta360 Go 3 eventually. Because so many of these parts on the drone are now 3D printed, it does make it so much easier to repair and to have extra parts on hand if I do end up crashing it hard enough to break the camera mounts. But it's so nice that almost no matter what, your prop guards are not going to break, so you do not have to fear being able to fly after crashing on a job. For now, I'm going to keep using the Foxeer 25 as I continue my search for the perfect Cinewhoop. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and consider subscribing. If you have any questions or want to know what products I use in the video, write me a comment, and all of the links are in the video description. I'll see you in the next one.